Hello, this is David Geller, and I'm here to show you how the Geller Blue Book works inside of the Edge point of sale system, and to show you and your staff how to use this. The purpose of the Geller Book and the Edge POS is to make it easier to charge without using the book itself. And most people tell me that when they use the Geller Book in the POS part of the Edge, that they get the prices without a problem. That the employees look at it and go, well, I guess that's what they charge. And the customer looks at it and goes, well, I guess that's what they charge. So I'm going to give you a little background upon this. And we'll come down here. So to get the download for the Edge, which I'm going to show you, that's the purpose of this video, you must first own a current copy of our price book. So most of you probably looking at this already have the price book. But the price book comes as a kit. It's in a 3-ring binder. There's 14 chapters covering everything that can happen in a jewelry store, from sizing, tips, CAD/CAM, hand carving, waxes, setting, metals, appraisals, watch repair, everything that you can think of. The book itself comes with a brass millimeter gauge up front and a calculator. And the reason that we went to a 3-ring binder, if prices change, we can send you pages for less money. It also comes with this fold-out quick pick list. It's legal size paper, and it shows 20 of the most used repairs, like tips and solders and sizing, lobster claws, things like that, so you don't have to go into the book. And this is also summarized in our counter mat. So this counter mat has a plastic top. There's 4 sheets in here, and these are laid out. This very top first sheet tells the customer our 3 choices on cleaning their rings, from ultrasonic for free to a quickie buff for $8 and a bring it back to factory specs starting at $35, to clean, tighten, refinish, and additional if it's white gold. So this is the kit. It's $3.99 for the kit. Additional books, if you need them, are $79. If you already have one of these books and have a really old version, just to buy the pages as of today's date, January 25th, 2018, is $55. If you have an old book that's spiral bound, it's only $1.99 to upgrade. So you must have a current copy of the price book. Then there's a one-time fee of $2.99 to download the Geller book in there. And as things change, if we update the book and you get your pages updated, we will give you the upgrade to the Edge at no additional charge. The pricing in the book is based upon this. It's a 3-time markup based upon the cost of the parts on the Stellar.com website. So if you either have their catalog or into their website, everything is a 3-time markup on retail. And by the way, I spoke to Matt Stellar many years ago, and I asked him how he came up with the 3-time markup when he started selling door-to-door in his Datsun 240Z. He told me he knew jewelers were going to discount, so he marked it up 3 times, hoping you'd get at least Keystone. Well, he never told me that, so I just went ahead and did a 3-time markup. So all the parts, the pieces of gold, the heads, the lobster claws, jump rings, earring post, everything is marked up 3 times for what Stellar would charge you. And by the way, inside the book, not in the Edge, but in the book, there's a stock number for each part, and I'll show you that. The labor is a 4-time markup, and we paid our jewelers 100% commission. I'm going to describe it in very short detail because it's unimportant for 90% of the people looking at this, because you're typically paying your jewelers hourly wage or a salary. But what's important to know is if I tell you $20 to do something retail, you shouldn't worry about the cost. You should know that that is the correct price. So let's get into it. And so the first thing I want to show you, when you go to the Edge website, let me see if I can bring this to you. Hold on while I get this up. So if you purchase the download, you're going to get an email from the Edge that will tell you to go to edgeuser.com. You would log in with your credentials. You would come up here to downloads. I think it's under data. Let's see. It is. So although their numbering doesn't go with our numbering, we're on version 5 of the book, release 6. They call it 700. So you can see the date. The newest one is always at the top. You would click on this to download it. You would save it someplace. Typically, most people would save it in downloads. And then after you do that, you come up to the Edge, Administrative, Repair, Import SKU Table. And you would then go find where you had that file. So you want to go to Downloads, and it's there. I'm not going to import it because I already have, but you would click on Overwrite All SKUs, and then go to it, and it would put it in. If you have an older version of Geller SKUs, this will erase them. If you have made some of your own, few people do that, they rely upon mine. But if you've made your own, there's two things. Don't import. See where it says preserve SKUs created or modified here? So if you do that, it will only save yours if you do the following. So I'm going to come up here to the SKUs. And what you're getting, if you want to do this yourself, be my guest. There's over 7,000 numbers. So let's just double click and open one. And so the pricing is here. We're charging $325 for this. And you see right here it says preserve this SKU. You have to click that first and save it. I'm not going to do it before you import. Most of you are not going to have that. You're just going to import the book and just click Overwrite All SKUs. Just do that. When you import, there'll be a green bar going across here when it's done, and then when it's done, you have to close out of the Edge and reopen it, and you'll be able to use the Geller SKUs. So let's come up here to the point of sale program, and we'll get somebody. So we're going to deal with Judy Faber. So this is what I want to show you. The Geller book are these two things, the repair intake and custom intake. This is me. I have nothing to do with any of the other buttons. But I do want to show you one thing. The other thing that I help people with is QuickBooks. And the Edge exports directly into QuickBooks when it's set up correctly. And that is exactly what I do, is to help people with that. So if you export from the Edge into QuickBooks, you'll have in QuickBooks your profit and loss. These two numbers are sales from the Edge. They come from hitting the Sell Item button. The cost of these, this is a real store, I just changed the name. This is their product sales for a year, and the cost of those product sales is $884, and this comes from the Edge. Many bookkeepers do this wrong, and when they pay a bill, they put it here. The Edge sends over the sales and the cost. But when you use the repair intake, it will send over the jewelry repair sales in the QuickBooks. If you use the custom intake, it will send over the custom sales into QuickBooks. This store hated watch repairmen. So they didn't do watch repair or batteries, but for everyone else, I make one more shop sale, and it's titled watch repair and batteries. And that would come over here as well. So you would have three. The cost of the shop is never, ever put into the Edge. Never. The bookkeeper puts it in. So this is the weekly paycheck over a year of the jeweler. Because if your jeweler is paid $500, $700, $1,000 a week, you have no idea how much it costs to have him or her size a ring smaller, solder, or jump ring. But you can swear in a stack of Bibles how much the paycheck was. This is the matching taxes. We are not going to inventory findings in the edge. We're going to write them off. If you had to order 6 lobster claws because you were out and sold 1, we're going to write off all 6. So in the David Geller world, shop costs, this store had a shop cost of $175,000, should double for shop sales. Sales should be $350. It's easy to see that it's not. I visited the store and I happen to know why they did not get $350 is because they gave away some free repairs. They thought it was good for the store. But anything over here, repair intake or custom intake, comes to QuickBooks, and that, my friends, is the only way to see how the shop is doing. You cannot see the profitability of the shop in the edge. You can see the sales, but not the cost. So let's go ahead. So what we're going to do is to size, let me bring this over. So we are going to size this ring. This is a 14 karat white gold 7 diamond ring. And notice each diamond has 4 prongs. So we're going to make this 14 karat white gold ring. It's less than 3 millimeters wide. We're going to make it 2 sizes larger. So let's get started. If you have a copy of our price book, this ring is going to be on this very first page. So to make that ring larger, it's less than 3 millimeters. The first size larger, if it has 0 to 4 stones, and this has 7, so it's between here, one size larger in white gold is 128. Each additional size is 24. Now, let's talk about the difference. To make a ring one size larger in yellow gold with less than 4 stones, we're going to check and tighten the stones and guarantee their stone loss for a year, one size larger in yellow for 65. In white gold, it's 100, and the reason is we're adding $35 to the yellow gold price to rhodium plate the ring, so it's 100. So for the sales staff, if you're using a book, you just need a point. But this ring has 7 stones in it. The jeweler's going to have to tighten them if they're loose. We'll guarantee it for a year. If they get loose, we'll tighten them at no charge. And if any of these little diamonds fall out, we'll replace them at no charge. So we're charging an additional $28 above this for the check and tighten. So to make this ring one size larger, white gold, and check and tighten up to 20 stones, this has 7, is $128, and each additional size is 24. So let's move this out of the way. We'll come over here to the repair intake, and I'll give you a little explanation of this. Describe the item. This is a description which prints on the job envelope of what the customer has left. 14 karat white gold, you can write it out more if you like. 7 2.5 millimeter round diamond wedding ring. That's all you need here. Over here on the right, you should be asking customers this question. What kind of value should I put on your ring while we have it? We're not looking to do an appraisal. We don't want to get in an argument with the customer. The reason is the owner once a year sits down with the insurance agent and asks 2 questions. The first question the agent says is how much should insure the jewelry in the case for, where the edge has a report. The second question is how much should insure all your customers' jewelry for in case you get robbed at gunpoint or burglarized. Well, if you ask the question and put it here, even if you're close, it doesn't have to be to the penny. If it's a $5,000 ring, they say $6,000, fine, put it down. the owner will be able to run a report and insure their stuff properly. So let's put a number here. Now, if one of these stones has a nick or chip on it, you can either put it here or here. So here's where we put the condition. This prints on the receipt. This does not print on the receipt. You can type anything that you need to type, like or whatever. The lady won't see this. So we fill this out, and over here you can take a picture of the ring. Now, I don't have a camera set up, but you would hit acquire, you have a camera box, and it'll put a picture here. It'll only print one picture on the receipt. So let's do this. Let's save this. And let's come up here. So you can see it. And so we've taken a picture of the customer's ring, and that will print on the job envelope. I just happened to copy the picture we were using. So we come down here, and there's two ways to do it. I'm going to show you one way. This number right here, this 128 in the book, this is the SKU number. You could type 1011 and hit tab, and the edge will already figure this in, and we're going to go two sizes up. So we're going to go from a 5 to a 7, and the edge has already figured up $152. What the edge did was to add this number with the additional size larger to get the $152. And that's how the edge has figured this. Most people do not do it this way. So I'm going to put it back in. So you would come up here, hit the repair intake, fill out everything here, take a picture. By the way, this notify is how the customer wants to be notified, and you can choose that. But here's the way it was intended to be used. We're going to click on Find SKU. There could be 7 white boxes that you could choose from. So we're going to click the first one, and if you take a look at all of these things, all of that's in the book. This is everything you could do to a piece of jewelry. So we're going to size it. So we're going to click on sizing, and if another box comes up, there is another option. So we're going to click the down arrow. Ring sizing is the only thing that has a choice between white gold and yellow gold, because remember, in the chapter we have a choice of that. Other places in the book, if you were to solder something and it was white gold, you would have to charge for the solder, and you'd have to add on rhodium plating. But ring sizing is the only thing in the book that it's already listed. So this is to make it easy for the staff and make sure we get our money for rhodium plating. So we're going to click on here, and remember this is a 14 karat white gold ring. By choosing this, we're adding automatically $35 for rhodium plating. Then we're going to come down to the next box, and it's the width, and I told you this was a narrow ring, it's less than 3 millimeters. Then the next box is how many stones, and we're going to choose 5 to 20 because it has 7 stones. This automatically adds $28 to the price. Then we're going to choose this one, and we're going to make it larger. So if you choose larger, it's going to use this line. If you had chosen smaller, it would use that line. So we're sizing a 14 karat white gold ring, a narrow one with 7 stones. We're going to make it larger. The next one we're going to choose is this. So, depending upon how much training you have in the store, here's the thing. This ring, let me bring this back over. When we size a ring, see this little gray line? We're going to cut it here. We're going to put a piece in and make it larger. We're going to use a torch and heat this area with some solder, which will flow in between it, kind of like butter between two pieces of bread. It'll be solid, and a jeweler will file it, smooth it up with emery paper, which is like emery stick for doing your nails, and polish it up. Well, when we heat this, the heat is going to travel up the side. And if you look at this as a clock, the heat will travel up to about 9 o'clock and 6 o'clock. These diamonds are going to get hot. There are 3 stones that can take the heat of soldering. They are the colors of the American flag: red, white, and blue, diamond, ruby, sapphire. The rubies and sapphires must be faceted like a diamond. They cannot be cabochon. Cabochon, typically, they might have air bubbles in it, and it might expand. If these were diamond, emerald, and this was an emerald on the end, a jeweler can do something to protect them, but in general we have to be very careful about burning this. So if there are more emeralds coming further down, instead of using a torch, you would want to use a laser. A laser, if you're a Star Trek fan, is just like the laser that they use. It will do something, but it's not hot. And a laser will join these two things together. So if we have to use a laser because of this safety issue, we would choose laser. Laser is 50% more than a torch. If your jeweler decides to use a laser because it's their preference, fine. But for diamonds, a torch is all you need. So, size of the ring, white gold, narrow ring with 7 stones, making it larger using a torch, which is the natural everyday one. We're going to click OK, and then we come over here and put in it's going to a 5, it's going to go to a 7. The edge figures it up, it's 152. So let me bring this back over. The edge has added the 128 to 24 to get the 152. Now, the 152 is all you need to know. I didn't like that the edge would had me put this in here, but I'll explain it what it is. Notice the box says parts, the next one says labor, next one says other. The $20 is a 3-time markup on the little piece we would put in. So I figured the part cost like $6.65, so it's about $19. Rounded it up to 20. So that's the piece of gold. The $131 is to size the ring larger, solder the 2 pieces, polish and emery the ring, check and tighten all the stones, and then dip it in rhodium plating. That's the labor, plus a 3-time markup on the sizing stock. And this other one that is called other, on this one I used it to round it up to 152. On many occasions, if I was to furnish a 6-prong head, that would be a 3-time markup on the head. That would be the labor to solder the head in and set the stone. And I'm adding in on setting about $5 per 1,000 to a diamond in case it's broken or it falls out, so we can self-insure ourselves. These 3 numbers, which you'll see in a moment, do not come up on the envelope. The customer just sees this. The edge no longer shows that, and I don't know why they don't get rid of it altogether. So let me do this. Here we go. So we're going to make this ring larger. This box here is a promise date. So On the next video, I'm going to show you how to track jobs in the store, but somebody has to decide when it's going to be due. I don't use this in my store for that. This means the promise date is estimated. We're going to run by the promise date and call the customer for late. This is the price with tax. Price is estimated. We tell the customer the right price, but if you click that, then it'll be printed and it's to be determined by somebody. And the customer might say, call me before we start, or, you know what, if it doesn't go over $190, go ahead and do it. So it's not a bad feature, but to me, this is the price. So then we're going to hit OK, Save and Close. And so this is what it looks like. Notice on the right, this is what the customer is going to see, so they're not going to see the infinite detail. This is the picture it's going to print. I don't like the way the Edge did this, but that's the way it is. This first part right here is a description of what the customer left us in the store. You typed that. The thing we're doing is to size the 14 karat ring, narrow, white gold, da 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 da. That determined the price. This is the SKU number in the Geller book. So that's how to do this. I'm going to show you two more things. So I hit modify to bring it back up, and I'm going to add another task. The Edge people will tell you to add another repair intake, and if all of the stuff I'm going to show you is done by one jeweler, I don't add additional intakes because it means different. The envelope could be split among 3 jewelers, and that's just not done. If I'm going to do a tip and I'm going to do a lobster claw, and one jeweler can do that, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to add 3 of them here. It'll be in one envelope. But if I was taking in a jewelry repair, a watch repair, and a pearl restringing, I would indeed do 3 intakes, because those are going to go to 3 people. But Marvin, the jeweler, is going to do everything for Mrs. Faber. So here we're sizing her ring, and I'm going to tell you that the last 2 tips on either side, because it turns, are worn out. So I'm going to suggest we do all 4 on the corners so we can guarantee it. We're going to add another task. We're going to find SKU. And it's alphabetical, so you can type a T, and you go right to the T's, and we're down here for tips and prongs. There's another box. We're going to do a tip. A tip is where there's metal there to build on. A prong is when the metal has completely broken off, that it has sheared off and there's nothing on top. But a tip is it's worn down thin. We're going to build it up. So that's the tip, and we're going to do it in 14 karat. The reason it says 14 karat silver, we don't charge less for silver because the jeweler's paid by the hour. It takes just as long, if not longer, to fix a silver ring. And you notice it doesn't say white or yellow. Now on this particular job, the sizing rhodium plates it. But if a customer brought it in just for tipping, you would have to add another task for rhodium. So it's 14 karat. And the next one is, are we going to do it with a laser or torch? It's the color of the American flag. We're going to use a laser. We're going to just hit select and hit OK. So we're going to do 4. 4 is 8. The first tip is 32. I think each additional tip is 17. If I type 2, it is 17. We're going to do 8. So the Edge has charged 39 for the first, 17 for the other 7. I would come down here and click and add. Please retip all 4 prongs on the last diamond on the far left and far right side. So that tells the jeweler we're going to do all 4 of them on all of this. And you know what? This job up here charges to check and tighten all of them. So now we've got this one. So now the last thing I'm going to do is the customer is giving us a chain for a lobster claw. We're going to add another task. We're going to do find SKU. You could just as well look it up in the book, and type in the number, but this is supposed to save you money. So, or save you time rather, make you money. We're going to come down here and hit clasp. So there's lots of clasps, aren't there? We're going to do a lobster claw clasp. We're going to do a 14 karat one. And again, if that was the only job and you soldered it and it was white gold, you know, for a lobster claw you probably wouldn't have to rhodium plate it. But if for some reason it needed to be, you would have to add another task in rhodium. The next question is, what size is it? Let's just do the small one. It's 10 by 3 3/4. It's this one right here, so it's not real small. So it's going to be that size, the medium one. And you notice there are no more boxes to drop down. Because typically you're not worried about a laser on a soldering a jump ring. So it's $94. So this is the 3-time markup on the lobster claw. This is $19 to solder the jump ring closed. There's nothing else to add. That's it. We're going to hit save and close. So again, it's all on one big line. This is the ring. That's what we're doing to the ring, is sizing it. The other thing we're doing is tipping it. There's our instructions. The last one is a clasp for a lobster claw on the chain. And we really should come back here and add customer left 18-inch yellow gold 2.5 millimeter rope chain to install new lobster claw. So yes, you could take another picture, but it'll only show one. Of course, you could always set the diamond ring next to the chain and you'd have it here. But the edge tells me that you can have upwards of 5 pictures on the file. It's just this prints only the one picture that's here. So I'd probably take a picture of both of them side by side. So we have the wedding ring, we have the chain. We're charging the customer $422, including the sales tax. If you decided to take a deposit, you could put it there and do your normal thing. So then we're going to hit done. And let's preview the receipt. You would print it. Now the edge uses cardstock that you buy from a company like Hessler, and you buy it perforated. So one of them goes to the customer and one of them goes to the store. So this is the customer's copy. This is the store copy. We used to keep these in the back just in case anything went completely with the computer. And this piece right here, along with this is what goes in the plastic envelope that that prints this receipt for the edge. This goes in the front of the plastic Ziploc bag, and then the jewelry goes in as well. And then this is the claim check for the customer. And I'm going to take a picture of this for me for the next video. And so that's how we do it. I'm going to hit cancel, and we're back to where we were. That's how you use the Geller book, and anything that you do here will go to repair. And again, do not add anything into parts. If you use the custom intake, the purpose of the custom intake is to send it to the profit and loss statement to custom sales. So the difference really between the repair intake and custom intake tab, the custom intake has one more tab, and this is where you describe what you're doing. Make matching wedding band with 2.5 millimeter round diamonds to customer's engagement ring. Then you come over here, and now this is pretty much what you saw a moment ago, and here you would start charging to manufacture something custom. So you come down, let's see, come back up to the top. You see where it says CAD/CAM hem carve wax. Whether you take a block of wax or do it on a computer with GemVision, you're going to charge it this way. So here we're going to make a shadow wedding band, and we're going to make it for round stones, which means the jeweler or the cutting machine will cut holes in it. We're going to manufacture it in gold. This does not include the gold. This is casting in gold because it's more expensive to do a casting machine in platinum. And then after you do this, you would add another line for setting the diamonds and furnishing the metal. So ladies and gentlemen, that's it. And so there'll be another video of, as soon as you have now entered it, how to track it and move it through the store. So thank you very much, and I hope you have a profitable day.